I'm comparing the top cases for the Samsung S26 Ultra, including Samsung, dbrand, Spigen, Torras, RokForm, Mous, MagBak, Supcase, Aulumu, and CaseKoo to see which one is the best choice this year. Use chapters to jump to a specific section. And before we get started, I wanted to disclose that while all of these brands featured are sponsors of today's video, or they shipped a case for free, they do not get the chance to review or edit this video. So they're watching this at the same time that you are, and these are my honest thoughts and opinions. Now, let's get started. Starting with Samsung because they should be the standard for case quality for their own phone. This is the clear magnet case for the S26 Ultra. And because Samsung didn't include magnets in the actual phone, which kind of seems like a loss to me, you'll see a decent amount of cases here that include magnets to give Qi 2 and MagSafe functionality where it doesn't natively exist. This clear case immediately seems really thin and low profile with sharp corners to match the phone. It's gorgeous, MagSafe on the back, and a white ring around the camera bump. Putting the phone in the case, you can see that this is a really sleek case. I'm used to clear cases being a little bit bulkier than this, but it really feels good in the hand. Just look at the corners that aren't bulky, and then from the side profile, you can really tell just how sleek this thing is. And even looking at the lip around the screen, raised ever so slightly to protect that screen just enough to keep it looking low profile. The camera bump is raised just slightly higher than the cameras and adds a white ring surrounding, which looks great and keeps it protected. The additional camera and the sensor are actually raised a little higher than the case here, which is an interesting choice, but considering when you put this thing flat on a table, those will never necessarily touch the table, it's not the end of the world. But just know, if I were sitting with the camera bump off a ledge, the other lower cameras are making direct contact with that surface. The buttons on the side are a frosted white plastic and they feel really responsive, though they have slight wiggle room, which makes them feel a little less premium than I expected. But that's nitpicking here. On the top we have a cutout for the mic and vent, then on the bottom we have the cutouts for the S Pen, and then a full notch fully exposing the bottom ports, speakers, and SIM tool. And while I don't love fully exposed bottoms of phones, it does make it easier to swipe if you're using gestures on your phone. We'll see how others deal with this. The magnets in the case are decent, but if you're used to other phones that have magnets built into the phone, plus the reinforced magnets in a case, you'll be disappointed by this strength. I would say it's about half the strength of a traditional iPhone with a magnetic case. Good enough for mounting to charge, but definitely not good enough to use with car accessories where there's a lot more impact involved. But overall, this is actually a really solid clear case. It's low profile, the phone just fits perfectly into it, no added bulk, making it definitely more about design and feel versus drop protection. This is a great everyday case if you don't want to obstruct that look of your phone and add that magnetic functionality here. But how do the others in this review compare? Next up, we've got RokForm, a brand that I've reviewed many times on the channel for their exceptional rugged design while still being less bulky than, say, OtterBox or others in the market. Plus their proprietary twist locking system for enhanced mounting capabilities while still also offering magnetic mounting. This is the rugged case for the S26 Ultra, a carbon fiber finish design with thick rubberized borders with added texture for a great grip. On the inside, we have a fabric lining to protect the phone. Putting the phone in the case, you can see that this looks great, with angled corners for great drop protection. I love when cases subtly change the look and feel of your phone, like this one. We've got rings around the cameras to keep them protected, cutouts on the top for the mic and the vent. The sides have this textured design that make it really nice to hold. On the other side, we've got buttons which are rubber and feel really responsive with subtle indicators for volume rockers here. There's more grip along the sides as we go down to the cutouts for the lanyard if you have one. On the bottom, unlike Samsung, we've got individual cutouts for the S Pen, the speaker, and the port, closing off all other areas from dust and dirt and completely covering the SIM tray, which likely isn't a bad thing for most people, assuming you're not constantly swapping that out. I'm really happy with this overall finished product of this case, and it just feels great to use. On the back, this case has Qi 2 magnets, which in my testing are much stronger than Samsung's magnet case that I tested earlier. They did an awesome job on that. But they also include an additional extra strength magnet below, which is great for enabling you to stick this case to any metal surface for convenient mounting anywhere you go, plus it's got an extremely strong hold, perfect for mounting to a fridge or any metal surface around. But RokForm also has this little notch that can be popped out and swapped for the included magnetic plug, which boosts that strong magnetic hold even further, though that plug gets in the way of wireless charging, so best to use the standard plug that comes with it, or none at all if you plan to charge. And if you do take this thing completely out, you can use RokForm's dedicated twist locking system. I've shown these before, but I have a car mount option that suctions to your dash and allows you to simply twist it into place for a confident hold on your phone that won't be able to detach when going over bumps or rocky ground. Then there's also a bike mount that attaches to the handlebars. It also twists into place for a strong hold, but then it also has a release lever you need to push in order to detach it. So there's an extra secure hold here. It's great you get so many options with just one case: MagSafe, traditional magnetic mounting to any metal surface, or the twist locking system. Just incredible. What I like about RokForm is their ability to produce a case that feels extremely protected. I think it's rugged and durable, but when that usually comes at a cost of bulkiness, RokForm manages to produce a case that still feels designed with intention and relatively slim considering the padding and protection here. They set a high standard, so how do other competitors compare? Next up, we've got dbrand, coming with 3 different lineups here: the Ghost case, the Grip case, and the Tank case. Starting with the Ghost case, this is a lineup I have used steadily for the past year and has become one of my favorite clear cases for flagship phones. Simply put, a clear case with character. Putting the phone in the case, you can see a crystal clear case that lets you fully see the back of your phone. We've got a MagSafe magnet that's blacked out and also includes the aligner magnet that some accessories use so they can't swivel, and Samsung didn't include on their case. We've got a camera ring that fully protects the cameras, but my favorite part about this case is the sides, which are rubberized and give this incredible grip. You will never drop this thing if you're holding it. The buttons on the sides are rubber and change up the texture so you know which button is which. On the top, you've got the mic cutout, and then on the bottom, you've got individual cutouts for the S Pen, the speaker, and the charging port. The built-in magnets are about twice as strong as that of Samsung's case, which is awesome to see. Overall, this case is a low-profile clear case with added grip and much stronger drop protection than Samsung's case, all packaged into something that doesn't add a lot of extra bulk around the screen and comes together as a beautiful finished product. But then, for those who want more protection, more customization, and more grip, we have the Grip case. This is the standard black case that may feel quite bare at first glance, but with more than meets the eye. This one does come with MagSafe magnets on the inside as well. Putting the phone in the case, you can see it looks sleek and relatively unassuming. The camera ring is plastic and protects the cameras, and otherwise the back just has the Grip logo near the bottom. But the reason it's called the Grip case is that the sides have this micro-textured finish of thousands of dots and are very hard to show on camera, but you can feel them, and it makes this the single best grip phone that I have ever used. Plus the additional texture near the bottom where you typically hold your phone for even more secure hold. It's perfect if you're somebody who drops your phone and who wants that extra peace of mind. The buttons on the side are rubber and textured, very grippy while still being perfectly responsive. The ports on the bottom are individual cutouts, rather than fully exposed like that on Samsung. The MagSafe magnets feel stronger than the Ghost case, almost as strong as RokForm. Also, one other thing that people don't talk about enough is the raised front and lower lip to make it easy to grab off a table when face down. But in daily use, you can barely tell that it's raised. The Ghost case actually has that same feature, but it's so subtle and it's perfect. Finally, the plain back surface allows you to get compatible skins of your choosing if you want an additional level of customization without needing to apply a skin directly to your phone. And many skins come at no additional charge, with only select types being a premium finish and a premium cost. The case overall feels quite plain to me at first glance, but it's great for addressing the need for that added grip and strength, plus the customization of skins if you're into that. But for those who want much more protection, we have the much more unique Tank case. So I started using this case about 3 months ago, and it's really impressed me. The most unique looking case that I have ever used, yet somehow looking precisely designed for the S26 Ultra. Extreme camera protection with added ridges along the top, where it counts. MagSafe magnets built into the center for a strong hold. Ridges along the bottom in each spot where your fingers would rest, with extra tactile finishes to keep it feeling secure. It's incredibly impressive engineering at every single step of the way. The sides have these ridges that look great and add to the drop protection. They bulk up at the corners where it counts, and they reduce at points where you naturally grip the sides of your phone, making the case feel deceivingly thin because every part that you're holding is actually lower profile versus the protected areas. Ports on the bottom are cutouts, and you can see just how deep they go and how protected this phone actually is in the case. The buttons on the sides are my favorite part because they're made of metal that feel really premium and responsive, uniquely shaped so you know which button is which, but with the added feature of customization because these come with these color kits that you can swap out to the colors that you want. Let me know which of these colors you like best in the comments and how they look on the phone. Overall, this is one of the most unique cases that I have ever reviewed. It's thoughtfully designed in every way. Overall, an incredibly well done case that I use all of the time. But if you want more customization, we have our next case. So next up, we've got MagBak, coming in a package that not only holds the case, but doubles as a built-in screen protector applicator. You can align your phone and you can pull the tab to perfectly apply it every time. Looking at the case, it's a soft touch matte finish that feels great to hold. On the back, we've got protection on the camera ring, but they chose to include a notch out of the bottom of the camera bump, which there is a reason for, and we'll get to that a little bit later. The sides include metal buttons that feel great and are more premium than I was expecting. Then we've got grips down the sides of the phone on both sides for added support. The ports on the bottom are exposed for the S Pen and covered for the port. Plus, the cover acts as a cushion for your finger when holding the phone up, which makes it really comfortable to hold, and the only brand that I've seen to do something like this. But then, there's a lot more than meets the eye with this case. Like first you get the finger loop on the back that pops out for a better hold of the phone. Then we've got a kickstand at the bottom that allows you to prop up your phone in portrait or landscape mode depending on your preference. This case also has MagSafe magnets built in, so you get a strength that's stronger than Samsung, but not as strong as dbrand. But with built-in additional magnets, this case can also mount to any metal surface with an extremely strong hold, which is a nice touch. And this, by the way, is why there's a notch out of the camera ring, so it can sit flat on surfaces better. Plus, if you want to mount anywhere that isn't metal, they also include the MagStick, which is a 3M backed magnet that's extra strong and you can stick literally anywhere to mount to different dedicated points along the phone. But the amazing thing about MagBak Elite is the customization. So the metal buttons on the side, the grips that run along the phone, and the finger loop are all actually secretly modular, and those components can be swapped out for a variety of different accent packs that you can choose from. Swapping it all out is extremely easy to do. Then with the grips you can push out each section for a solid hold. The color options here we have are red, blue, gray, purple, green, and orange. Let me know which of these options that you like most in the comments, or if you prefer to mix and match a different combo between multiple accent packs. I will leave links in the description if you want to pick one of these up. Plus, be sure to use code DANV15 to save at checkout. Next up, we've got Supcase, with the UB Grip in a variety of options and the extremely durable UB Pro Mag. Starting with the UB Grip in the black finish, this case takes on a unique rugged look, completely changing the shape of your phone while adding strong protection. This case comes with a frosted back and looks great. Putting the phone in the case, you can see how great the frosted back looks, letting you see the phone. We've got unique designs everywhere here, from the two-tone color at the top to the grooved frosted finish, the octagon design of the magnetic ring. The camera ring includes solid protection for all of the cameras and sensors, adding to the frosted design. The sides of the case feel extremely grippy with textured sides. The corners have a unique shape that are used to not only enhance the design, but to add to the durability of the corner drop protection. The buttons on the sides are very low profile, which I think looks really unique, but it's still really responsive. The bottom offers more precise cutouts than most of the other cases in this comparison around the S Pen, the speakers, and the port. On the back we have a magnetic ring made of an aluminum alloy that pops out to become a stand that works in both landscape and portrait, and posable from 0 to 120 degrees in total. When closing, the magnetic ring is extremely strong, matching that strength of dbrand and RokForm. The case is overall really solid, and even though the materials used around the cases are less premium than some of the others in this review, they didn't sacrifice on durability or the grippy feel of this case. It also comes in many other options that take on different look and feel, like the brown option that has a leather-like plastic finish and gold accents, or the blacked out Aramid fiber designed finish. Let me know which option that you guys like most in the comments. But then, if you want serious rugged form, that's where the UB Pro Mag comes in. A case with multiple layered protection, including a phone case, followed by a front panel screen protector that completely covers your screen, or an alternative front shell if you want to use your own screen protector or go without. The case provides edge-to-edge protection, but still remains fairly thin as a durable case. Plus, it comes with a belt clip holster to keep your phone secure, which is a nice touch. The back includes a smooth plastic finish that almost feels metal to the touch, including a large camera ring for added protection. The sides have a TPU finish that includes textured grip. On the other side, you have a uniquely shaped low-profile button. They're all still extremely responsive to the touch, with added textures to differentiate between them. The case has added protection in the corners with extreme reinforcement at all sides, with the bottom including a cutout for the lanyard. And then on the other side, a larger cutout for the S Pen and additional cutouts for the ports. On the back of the case, we have added protection and grip at 3 of the corners, and we also have a stand that is thicker and more stable than most other stand cases we've seen, plus portable at any angle as it unfolds. We also get MagSafe that's extremely strong and comparable to that of RokForm and dbrand. It's an awesome case that feels extremely durable. Let me know which of these Supcases you liked the best in the comments below, and I will leave links to everything in the description so that you can pick them up. Next up, we've got Aulumu, known for futuristic looking tech, coming with the frosted case and the Aramid fiber case. Starting with the clear case, it comes with a frosted and unique design, with subtle designs around the edges, cameras, wake button, and MagSafe magnets, which are built in here by the way. Putting the phone in the case, you can see how that unique pattern looks awesome, casting shadows along the pattern and making it look like that pattern is literally part of the phone. Around the camera bump, you have an aluminum alloy frame that looks incredibly premium. The sides have a comfortable and stable grip with strong texture near the bottom, also including a lanyard cutout if you use that. The buttons on the sides are that same aluminum alloy finish with a finish that looks and feels really premium. The cutouts on the bottom are a lot more precise than many others that left them wider or completely wide open in the case of Samsung. And then the MagSafe magnets are just slightly stronger than that of Samsung here, but not as strong as the top of the line in terms of strength like dbrand or RokForm. And bonus points that the design here is actually glow in the dark for an added unique look. Overall, this case is a typical silicone case, but then that's been elevated through smart design, including subtle accents around the phone, a pattern to make it feel like more than just a frosted case, aluminum alloy camera ring, and buttons for a premium touch. It's an elevated case that did a great job making something that feels awesome. Next up, we've got the Aramid fiber case, which is a lot harder, less flexible material, but includes a smooth interwoven pattern that feels great to the touch. Putting the phone in the case, you can see just how slim this thing is. It almost feels like a wrap, barely raising higher than the screen, looking almost flush with it. On the back, you've got a woven design that feels textured and great, subtle markers throughout for added style. Around the camera, we've got a large aluminum alloy cutout so that it stays extremely reinforced and added protection despite how slim the case actually is. I love the design choices here. Along the side, we have a fully exposed button area, which doesn't strongly protect that area, but they do keep it feeling thin and allow you to feel the premium finish of your phone. On the bottom, we have a very similar full cutout that exposes the bottom while still slightly wrapping around the edge near the S Pen so it isn't fully exposed on that corner if dropped. Overall, this is a really solid case, a polished finish, and the thinnest case that I'm reviewing today. It's perfect for those who want thin, but still want great style. People who want an extra layer of protection, but want to feel the actual buttons and feel as if you're going caseless with added peace of mind. If you want to pick any of these cases up, I will leave links in the description. Let me know which option that you would choose in the comments below. Next up, we've got Spigen with the Liquid Air and Tough Armor cases. Starting with the Liquid Air, this is a soft and flexible silicone case with MagSafe built in. Putting the phone in the case, there is a lot of really great design choices here. First, the textured back that looks and feels great. The camera ring has a slight shine on the inner ring that is subtle, but again elevates that look. The sides are a soft touch and add grips all the way down that are deeply etched and feel great to hold. The buttons are just silicone with etched patterns to differentiate and are really responsive. Near the bottom, we have the cutout for the lanyard, and the bottom includes cutouts for the ports. The design strength is fairly weak here if I'm being honest, and might actually be a little worse than Samsung, but it's just enough to magnetically align to a charger. Look, I think this case strikes an amazing balance of how to make a case that's under $20 with all of the materials you'd expect under $20, but then intelligently make it feel much more premium. It's the best low-cost case that you can find. But for those who want more protection, we have the Tough Armor case. This is another TPU case with additional layers to pack in added drop protection. Look at the shock-absorbing layers on the inside. Putting the phone in the case, it feels so solid and insanely high quality for the price, featuring a smooth texture along the back, in the middle, subtle Spigen branding along the bottom kickstand, with a softer silicone finish on the top and bottom that add to that added drop protection. We've got a great looking camera ring that keeps the cameras protected. And then on the sides, we get a great slightly angled edge on both sides that lead to the side of the phone. One side is completely smooth and leads to the ridged drop protection edges. The other side includes the buttons with soft touch silicone almost rubber feeling, with textures to tell between the buttons, but what I love about this case is how it enhances the buttons and makes them feel 10 times bigger than they actually are. It's extremely user-friendly to use, and I love it every time I put this case on. The bottom also includes port cutouts that are well fit to the size of the ports. The kickstand on the back feels like the cheapest part about this case, honestly. Not being posable and kind of just loosely opening, it feels like a bit of an afterthought, and I guess it's nicer to have than not have, but definitely takes away from the nice feeling of this case. Like if a kickstand is your main priority, there's better options out there. But the MagSafe is much more improved here than the Liquid Air case, with a very sturdy grip that's more comparable to dbrand. Overall, this case is amazing value, and I really appreciate the work that Spigen does to make premium feeling cases at the cheapest possible price point. I will leave links in the description if you want to pick any of these up. Now, on to the next one. Next up we have CaseKoo with their Magic Stand Pro cases. We have 2 titanium options and 2 matte options. Starting with the titanium, this is the Magic Stand Pro in blue, featuring a clear case with extremely vibrant and shiny blue edges. This is definitely for those who want a clear case, but with that additional shine around the edges, and I love the blue finish here. Putting the phone in the case, you can see how it looks around the edges, and it feels really solid in the hand, although it is slightly slippery. The case is crystal clear on the back, letting you showcase your phone. On the camera bump, we've got a protective ring in the same shiny finish as the edges. It gives nice protection to all of the lenses and sensors, unlike Samsung's clear case. Then you can see how great and shiny the sides look wrapping around the edges that are tightly fixed to the phone, without a lot of extra padding around the edges. On the lower edge, we have a spot for a lanyard accessory if you use those. And then on the other side, we have the buttons, which are a plastic cutout and are very responsive to the touch. On the bottom, we have a slim cutout for the ports and the S Pen for easy ejection. We also have the CaseKoo branding on the other side, and then this case also has raised borders around the screen to give solid protection around the edges of that screen. Overall, it feels like a great everyday case. It doesn't overcomplicate things, it doesn't make things extra bulky where they don't need to be. But then on the back we have the Magic Stand, which starts as a MagSafe compatible ring, which in my testing is somewhere in the middle of the competition, stronger than that of Samsung cases, but then weaker than RokForm and dbrand. And then the Magic Stand is a great addition to the phone because it actually acts as a ring that can be popped out and used as a stand at any angle as it unfolds. Then it can be rotated and locked and fixed into 4 different positions, making it extremely stable for both portrait and landscape viewing. Overall, this is a great case, but it also comes in this purple finish, offering a darker shade that really pops with the light S26 Ultra. That purple shade also extends to the Magic Stand in a slightly lighter purple hue. Let me know which of these colors that you prefer in the comments between the blue and the purple. And then if full clear cases aren't for you, or they feel too slippery, that's where the matte options come in. This is the matte Magic Stand Pro case in the blue finish, coming with a frosted back and a soft matte touch that feels great. The camera ring is now matte and still equally protected, and you can still see around the corners and the edges that you get this slightly etched pattern that makes it feel fairly grippy, especially when compared to the titanium cases that were a little more slippery. But that grip also extends to navigating the buttons on the other side, which feel great. Otherwise, this is a very similar phone case, coming with the familiar Magic Stand on the back and looks great as a border around the front screen as well. CaseKoo also sent this version in purple, which again offers a similar look and feel, but with that darker shade to both the frosted back and the camera. Let me know which of these options that you prefer between the titanium and the matte options, and which color you liked as well. Leave all of that down in the comments, and I will leave links in the description to all of them for you to pick up. So next up we have Mous with the Limitless Walnut case. This case is a TPU plastic case with a back walnut plate and Mous branding on the camera ring and then on the bottom of the case. Putting the phone in the case, this one feels honestly surprisingly cheap to hold. And I say surprisingly because the back looks so premium, but then the sides of this case are a plastic material that I just don't love the feel of. You can tell they've done the work of trying to etch into this thing to have a bit of a texture, but it feels like the etching was just too lightly applied, leading to it feeling slightly cheap. But they do add some thoughtful touches here, so hear me out. Like the wave patterns on the sides where you naturally grip the phone. The buttons are much more slim and narrow than competitors, but they're still relatively responsive, which is awesome. We've got a cutout for a lanyard on the bottom if you use that. Then on the bottom, we've got cutouts for all of the ports. Now, there's 2 really strong cases to be made for what Mous did right here. First, the camera bump has a ring to protect the cameras, but it actually is the only one to angle this intelligently to enable your phone to sit flat on a surface, which is amazing and a huge problem with other cases or if you go caseless. This thing rocks like crazy. The camera bump is insane. But then the second thing is that on the inside of this case, they have what they call AeroShock lining, which makes it extremely protected from drops, making it one of the nicest cases to do so while still being extremely thin, where you wouldn't even expect strong drop protection at all. There's also MagSafe magnets built in, which feel stronger than Samsung, but not as strong as other competitors. Overall, the Limitless case hasn't changed much over the years, and if you liked it other years, you're gonna like it this year. It's still a case that looks premium from a distance. My only downside is that I don't love the way the bumper feels around the phone, and just seems kind of cheap to me despite still being a very expensive price point. Now that's entirely opinion-based, so take with that what you will. Now, on to the next one. Next up, we've got Torras with two options today, the O-Stand Q3 Air and the Q3 silicone leather option. Starting with the O-Stand Q3 Air. This one is one of the most popular cases that I see on the market, primarily for that unique design. You get a clear frosted back with textured patterns along the back. It's a harder plastic than I thought it would be, with very little bend, so it does feel secure. With the phone in the case, it feels really great. It's a soft touch on the grips along the sides where you hold the phone and then etched for added grip. The buttons on the sides are thin and orange and very responsive, but they come with alternative buttons in a replacement pack if you want less vibrant and more premium looking buttons. The top includes this bubble-like design that I love the look of because it's super unique, but it also really doubles up on this drop protection to make your phone feel secure. The camera bump has subtle Torras branding and looks great. The same drop protection extends to the bottom of the edges, where there's the cutouts for the S Pen, speaker, and the port. On the back, you get MagSafe compatible ring that's stronger than Samsung, but not as strong as dbrand or RokForm. But that MagSafe ring is also a stand that can pop out to either become a handle or used as a stand, which can be used in portrait or twisted and locked into 4 main positions for viewing in any position. Plus, it has a strong range to prop it up at any angle. Overall, this is a great looking case, and I can see why these are selling so popular every single year. But it's fascinating that there's so many specific design choices here. Raised texture patterns along the back design, a different color around the camera bump, a darker grip along the sides, a different color for the buttons, a lighter design for the drop protection on the top and the bottom, and a slightly lighter color around the border on the front of the screen versus the rest of the case. I love the look of this thing, and I will leave links to it in the description, but let me know in the comments what you guys think about this unique looking case. Next up, we've got the Q3 stand, which follows a similar but more premium template with a plastic leather finish. This finish looks a lot more obvious in marketing photos online, but in person it's still nice, but it's looking less leather than I expected it to be. It feels harder than you would expect a leather finish to feel, but the gold accents around the camera ring and the MagSafe look absolutely incredible. I love that accent. It also extends to the buttons, which are looking polished gold and are etched along the sides to feel extra premium. They did an awesome job on those. The sides are a soft touch that's indented with a groove for added grip. It feels like your typical silicone case, but then slightly elevated with an added matte premium finish. The ports on the bottom are cutouts for the S Pen, the speaker, and the port. And this case comes with built-in MagSafe support that's just slightly stronger than Samsung case, but not as strong as the others in this comparison. And like the others, it has that same ring that is flexible to become a stand at any angle or orientation or used as a handle. This is overall the feel of a standard silicone case with slight elevations to make it look extremely premium at a glance. Let me know if you prefer the Air or the leather option in the comments below. And of course, I will leave links to this in the description below. Now that's a lot of cases to go through. So if you stuck around, I'm providing the top choices in each category, including best thin case, best budget case, best protection, best style, and my top choices. For best thin case, the winner is Aulumu with the Aramid fiber case that was incredibly slim while still giving an amazing texture and thoughtful design that let you feel the edges of your phone while being low profile. For the best budget phone case, we've got anything from Spigen, but particularly the Liquid Air case, which even with MagSafe is under 20 bucks and looks great. For best protection, we saw a lot of options, but my top choice was the RokForm rugged case, providing significant drop protection in a solid and slim build. And while I loved the Torras Q3, which had a nice mix of style and drop protection, the fact that it was more expensive and less durable than RokForm made RokForm the easier choice. For best style, this one is far more opinion-based, but I chose the dbrand tank case and the MagBak Elite, for both having different takes on modularity and color swapping buttons and accents. And finally, my top choices out of all of these cases, based solely on my taste, price range and quality is offering this mix of being a clear anti-yellowing case. I love the black accented magnets and the added grip and drop protection, all while being slim. This is the most comfortable case to hold in my opinion. My second choice would actually also be dbrand with the tank case, because I love the thoughtful engineering and how they made this something that feels so custom and yet so unique, while also being comfortable and slim to hold in all of the right places, complete with metal customizable buttons. Huge fan of this one, and I get a lot of questions every time I'm using it. But at the end of the day, everything included in this video is one of the top cases that you can buy for the phone, with links in the description to each one below. And if you watched this far into the video, let me know in the comments which one was your top choice. If I didn't include a brand that you want to see, drop it in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.